Welcome to the introductory overview for Earth Science 1 and 2. We will be looking at the course page for Earth Science 1, but the same principles apply to both courses. First, let's look at the home page. You've got the title screen, a lot of resources. Then the course is broken into 12 chapters plus the final exam. This means you will have to do one chapter every week and a half. If you fall behind, it is going to be very difficult to catch up. This course really does require you to sign in and work every day just as in a normal class. If you miss 10 days during the semester, it's going to be a challenge. So please pace yourselves. The resources. The glossary. It's a fancy word for a dictionary. During the course, you'll come across a lot of words. Some of them will be Greek and Latin prefixes and suffixes, which are here in the beginning, and then page after page after page of specific earth science words. You also have the atlas, in this case, a physiographic atlas of North America, mostly the United States. We have a lot of atlases. Here's the atlas of the world, and this will be handy when you get to volcanoes, plate tectonics, and earthquakes. Here is the plate tectonics specific atlas. You'll be asked to look at this in chapter 7, I believe, on plate tectonics. This will be handy when you get to the chapters in astronomy, because you will be making your own star chart, although this is handy as a reference. When you get to topographic maps, this portion will be handy. And then we have the reference tables. First, SI units. Metric conversions, you won't be using that a lot. Temperature conversions will come in handy. Topographic map symbols are very handy when you get to the chapter on topographic maps. Chemical symbols will be handy throughout the course. This will be used in the chapter on minerals, so know that you have to scroll down to this. And then we also have the sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous rock identification tables. After this, we get to meteorology, half-life, and some more planetary and stratigraphic type things. Tree ring growth and weather data will be included for a lab. Then the skills handbook, which is included, but we won't be using it. Okay, let's look at a typical chapter. In order to make this easier, let's collapse by clicking this little box to look only at chapter 1. If you ever open up your earth science and all you see is one chapter, click this. It will expand it so that you see all the chapters. A typical chapter begins with the objectives. The objectives are what you need to know in order to be proficient in the chapter. These will be the things over which each test will be written. So if you want to know how well you'll do on the test, know these objectives. Words that will be important in the test are also included in the objectives. Every chapter has the objectives at the very beginning. Next, resources. Yours will look slightly different, but the resources will cover any links that will be handy and the lectures that we'll be listening to along the way. Then, the study sheets. Here is a typical study sheet. This one, however, has a much longer introduction than normal. You have one study sheet for each of the chapters. Each of the study sheets will have links. Clicking on these links will open them in a new window. Again, if you Command or Control click, instead of opening in a new window, this will open in a tab. And here we go, Chapter 1, Section 1, the key ideas. Please, when you're going through here, look at the pictures, look at the captions, because a lot of earth science is visual. Paying attention to the images will be handy. The questions at the end of each section, they're okay. But your study sheets have been written specifically to help you get to the objectives. When you're going through your study sheet, it might be handy to open up each one of these in a window and take 10 or 15 minutes to read each section. Each study sheet is written carefully not to waste your time. If a question isn't needed, it's eliminated. The questions, however, will ask you to think. They won't ask you to memorize. They'll ask you to evaluate, to analyze, and to synthesize rather than regurgitate. You can skip through these, but if you do, it will show up come test time, and it'll definitely show up during the final exam. So take your time with the study sheets. They really are for studying. Now, when you do a study sheet, here's the best course of action. Copy this and paste it into a Google Doc. Why a Google Doc? Because every once in a while your work will be lost in pvONLINE. Rarely, but every once in a while. If it's in a Google Doc, it will be there. You're welcome to ignore this direction, but if you do, please do not write saying, hey, it lost all my stuff. Work in Google Docs. All you need, and I have no idea why Google Docs is doing this today, is to include the questions and then write your answers underneath each question. So type your answer right in here. I have no idea why this is happening again. But just type your answers underneath each question. If you submit an assignment without questions and answers, it will be given a 0 and you'll have a chance to redo it. Do it twice and you'll just get the 0. Please follow the directions. You notice the directions really do say, paste your questions into a Google Docs document, typing your complete, spell-checked, original sentence answers below each question. Now, you can submit these only once. Your teacher usually will grade these within 2 school days and give you feedback. You'll notice that in each of the sections that are linked below, there will be PDF sections. Those don't work since these are themselves PDFs. Don't worry about it. When appropriate, those links are included. In fact, let me take you now to a chapter that includes that type of thing. Uh-oh, where did our stuff go? I will uncollapse and go to a chapter that contains all kinds of simulations. Chapter 3, for example. We have not only the materials to read, Chapter 3, Section 1, Modeling the Planet, but we also have visualizations. And where appropriate, these are included, and you simply go through each of the steps, and these will help you get to the objectives. Now, on occasion, one of these visualizations or simulations will require you to have Shockwave installed. That's a typical plugin, and there will be a little link up here saying install Shockwaves. You don't have to pay for it. It's free. Just install it. You'll do okay. Now, when you're doing a study sheet, if you want to put your answers in a different color, that's okay. But just make sure the questions and the answers are clearly separated. Also, if you're not done with an assignment and you want to save it in pvONLINE, the first 2 words need to be not done. If not done is not at the top, your assignment will be graded. And again, these will be graded only once. Videos are included too. Let's take a look at this one. A lot of times the videos are so good that there won't be a lecture. Other times the videos will cover part of the objectives and a lecture will be included on top of this. If you have trouble with a video, just talk to your AT if you're at school, or if you're at home, just follow the directions. If you're still having problems, drop by the school site and see if they can help you. Otherwise, write me. When you're starting a video, first take a look at how long the video is. In this case, it's a CPB Annenberg video, 29 minutes long. You want to plan ahead. You're welcome to pause, but if you're in the last few minutes of the period, you might want to wait till the next day. And again, place your questions in there, your complete original sentence answers. Now, let's go to this video. This is Earth Revealed Down to Earth. This can be a little tricky. We're going to go down to the video that says Down to Earth, and we're going to click on Video on Demand. And for some reason, it loads the same page again. But once you click Video on Demand, it now opens this in a pop-up window, and you can start viewing the video. Quirky, but it works. Since this course is approved by the universities for a high school lab science credit, we have included labs along the way. Some of the times you'll be asked to acquire something very simple. In this case, you're going to write observations, and you really do have to write in sentences. Other times they will be online labs. Let me give you an example of that. Chapter 4 has something called the Earth Season Simulator Lab. This is a lot of fun. And you'll simply have to manipulate the variables within this simulation. Something you really can't do in the real world unless you're capable of moving around the sun, earth, and moon. So this is where simulations come in really handy. Okay, looking at your home page in the course, you'll notice something called the gradebook. This becomes significant. In your gradebook, there are two different types of grades. Once you've submitted an assignment, you will notice that your sum of points will start rising from 0 toward 80%. That's the highest you can get because the final exam is worth the last 20%. The portion called course total can be as high as 100% or down to 0, depending on how well you do on each assignment. This is not your grade. This is. This shows you the average of your scores on every assignment that you've done, even if you've done only one assignment. That's significant. If you look in your gradebook, on most assignments, you'll see feedback from your teacher in addition to the grade. There are times that I will forget to give a grade. I'm so astonished by your quality work that I'll make all kinds of comments and then forget to give you a grade. If that happens, just drop your teacher an email. Off-campus students, you need to submit your 112.5 hours in order to be able to take the final exam. So make sure you get your hours in. There's something over here called the progress calculator. It will help you, but it's something I can't access, so I can't show it to you really well. If you think you're finished, read the paragraph by the final exam. All work has to be completed before taking the final exam. It will take 48 hours to give you the approval. Off-campus students, again, you have to have the 112.5 hours. A couple more notes. If you have any questions or comments, please email me. If you have any suggestions for the course or find any mistakes, email your teacher. If you have any questions, make sure they're specific. Here's a specific question. In Chapter 1, the study sheet, question number 3 isn't making sense to me, and here is why. And then you delineate. Saying, I need help, won't work. Keep in mind we can see everything you sign into, how long you've been in, every page you visited. So get to work. Have a good time. And again, if you have any questions, email your teacher. Oh, quick note, each of these videos has to be 15 minutes or shorter.